going to make a baseball cap for Lorie. I found out that these LOL animals are smaller than the LOL dolls, the big sisters. Not much, but still a little, so this fits really good to the head of my girl. Find something that fits in the size for your doll's head, depending on what doll you have, Barbie and so on. Find a round thing that actually fits the head. It needs to be a tiny bit bigger, or you can take some cling foil and wrap it around the head, and then take this masking tape, and I'm going to take some of these and I'm going to stick them here on my LOL ball like this. And I'm only going to do it here on some of the spaces here, because we don't need the ball to be covered. You can do that with your doll if you like to, but you really don't need to cover it. You need a piece for the baseball cap to the pattern. So I'm just going to stick it really well here to the ball, so that it sits really good. And I had the top piece right here. I think I take my pen instead. So I have the top piece of the ball right here. So this is the one half of the ball, and then I am going to make it into 3 pieces like this, so that I have in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And I'm going to draw down my ball here and along this line as well, and then I'm going to make it around here, my baseball cap, something like this. Also, I'm just going to take my knife and cut around here. See if that's working. It is. Don't do this directly on your doll. You risk to ruin her. If you have the cling wrap around the doll head, then take the cling wrap off first, and then cut along your lines drawn. This way you won't ruin your doll. But when I have this pattern, I am going to put it onto a print sheet for you, and then you will be able to print it out. And you can make it smaller before you print for a smaller doll if you like, or bigger if you have a bigger doll you want it for. And also this is going to scratch your ball, so if you don't want it to be scratched, then don't do it like this. Taking off this piece of my ball and sticking it to a piece of paper, something like this. So this way I have my pattern, and I am going to cut this out a tiny bit bigger than what we made here. Just to be sure that it will be big enough. And this way I already have my seam allowance also. So here is the pattern for my baseball cap to my doll. So I place my pattern that I have on the back side of the fabric, and I'm placing it in the corner, and then I am going to trace around it I don't have one of those fabric markers. Like that. And I'm going to make 6 of these and cut them out. And then I will be back. I have this Camaro cutter, so I cut this in glitter paper for to iron on clothing, and I'm going to put that here on this piece and iron it on, and then I will be right back. So I ironed on the letters on the fabric, and I like it. So I'm taking this piece and another piece, and I'm putting them up good side to good side. Like that. And I'm going to take a pin here just to keep them together while I sew, like that. Then I'm going to sew up in this line here. So I'm just going to start down here, and remember we do have this seam allowance here, like that. And I am going to sew this with back stitches. So I am first doing a stitch, going a little behind my stitch, and going up in front of my stitch. Let's see if I can sew it better. So here we have my stitch coming up. So I'm going down here a bit before my stitch and up again a tiny bit after my stitch. And just pull it through. And I'm gonna do that all the way up here, and then I will come back. So I sewed these two together on this side. So I'm going to open this one up, take another one, and put that here next to this one. Place it, and taking a needle here just to make sure it's lying where I want it. Like that. And then I'm just going to start up here because my thread is long enough. So I'm going to start up here, and then I'm going to sew all the way down here. So sew the sides together one by one, and then of course the last two together. That shouldn't be that hard. So do that, and then I will be back. So I'm deciding for which one of these pieces is going to be the back side of the cap, and I decided on this one, and I made a mark for where I'm going to cut out this semicircle, and I am going actually to make another mark if I can get this to right. So where I am going to open up this circle, I'm going to cut it a little smaller right here, and then opening it up like that. There we go. So I have that part. So I'm going to cut out this part here. So I'm just going to take my scissor and cut this piece out. And to be able to fold back the clothing here, I am going to put in a few of these. Then I'm going to take my fabric glue, and I'm going to put a tiny bit on each of these pieces, but just a tiny bit of fabric glue on it. And I'm going to bend it backwards and hold it. There we go. And I'm going to do that on all these tiny flips. So I'm going to let the glue sit, and then I'm going to turn it the other way around and sew all the way around here, and then I will be back. Okay, I glued all these pieces together and sewed a nice stitching around here, so that's nice. And then I actually glued down all these sewing parts here, which is giving the hat or the cap a little more stability. Also when you turn it around, but I'm still not ready to turn it around. So that's the cap main part. I'm going to make the shadow for the cap, and for that I'm using this ball again. And I'm just starting with drawing a semicircle down the line of the ball. So I have the outline of the ball, and I don't want this to be all too long, so I'm going to take 3 centimeters, I think. And I'm going to use the ball again. Let's see how that turns out. That's actually not that bad. So I can do something like pulling it more down the sides here. Like that. Just gonna take my scissor and cut this out. So I rolled out a piece of clay in a setting 6, and I cut out this exact shape of it. And I'm going to bake this for 15-20 minutes, and then it's ready for me to make the shadow. Then I made this one, and I cut out some fabric that is bigger than this piece. This is the main piece for the cap, and I actually ironed on a tiny heart here because I like that. So I have cut out 2 pieces here that is bigger than the cap piece here, and I'm going to take them apart if I can. Okay, there we go. Then I'm taking this piece and I'm placing it so that I like where the heart is placed. If you don't have the heart or something, you can just leave this out. This is not something you need. Placing this part on top of it. So I pinned the 2 sides together, good side to good side, with this polymer clay thing inside of it. And now I'm going to start in one end and sew all the way around here as close to the Fimo thing I have in here as I can. And I'm going to leave this part open. I sewed all the way around here on the edge, and I am going to make some small cuts here all the way around the circle into the fabric. And do not hit the sewing thread. You don't want to do that, because then it's all for nothing. So I'm going to take this piece here out and turn this around. So I have turned it around, and I'm going to stick this one inside again. It's a good part about Fimo and Cyanide. It's very flexible after being baking. So I'm going to put a pin here to make sure it will stay. And I will just fumble a little around here to make sure that I get it all the way in. So I have it lying really nice around here. So I have the shade for my baseball cap here. So this is the nice side, and that's the back side. So I'm going to sew this on here, start at the middle, and then sewing on. And this is quite tricky to do because this fabric is going one way and this is going another way. But if you take your time, you can actually do this nice and smooth the way around here. And make sure that you are sewing all up to the edge of this piece of Fimo in there. So I am going to do that, and then I will be back to show you how it looks. So I'm going to start right here at the middle of this, and then slowly adapt the fabric around this thing. And then go back here to the middle point and sew out on the corner. And make sure you have, if you have something like this, then make sure it's turning inside to the good side here, so it will be the right way when you turn it around when you're done. So I sewed in the shadow here on the side, and I started to make this little bend, or what you call it, and sew all the way around here, and I am going to bend this on this edge here as well. I'm just following here where the shadow is, or whatever you call that part, and just making sure I like the way it goes. And one more needle here. And there we go. And then I'm going to sew a very neat stitching all the way around here, all here and all the way. And I'm going to do it here on the top of the head here, so that this piece is folded in and up when all done. That will also help keeping it in the shape we want it to. And I'm going to start over here, so I'm going to put it so that my knot is hidden inside of there. And I'm always starting like that. And then I am bringing up my needle here on the back side. Well, I know this is hard to see, but I'm trying. And again, I'm using back stitches, and I'm doing it from the nice side of the baseball cap, and this way I'm sure that my stitch all the way around the baseball cap is nice and clean on the good side. So I'm just going to do it with tiny small stitches. This way I get the nicest results. It takes a little longer, but the result will be worth it. So I'm going to do that all the way around, and then I will be back. So now I have sewn the edge really nice all the way around this cap, like that. So now we just need the bucket, or what you call that, for the back here of the head. And for that I take a piece of clay that I wrote out in a setting 4, and I am going to cut a nice straight edge here, like that. And I have this hole cutter, so I'm going to punch out a few holes here to make it look even more real, like that. Put that away. And I'm going to measure, that's about the length. And I'm going to make it a bit longer than needed. And I would like it to be a bit curved. So I'm going to bake this piece just like this, and then I will glue this in the back of the head. So I baked this part, and I'm going to take my E6000 and put some here on this piece. So I'm placing it here at the baseball cap, and putting this clamp on here to keep it where I want it. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just a bit of glue right there, placing it and using my clamps here to keep it in place. And when the glue dries, you just remove the clamp, and your baseball cap is all done. So that's all there is to it. I will post a few pictures here so you can see the done results. And then I'm just going to wish you a happy crafting.